I will start in German and then I will go to the interview, okay? So, hi Leute, herzlich willkommen zu einem kleinen spontanen Interview hier im Endeffekt. Einem der Maker eines großartigen Spiels, das ich hier zufällig in Halle 10.1 gefunden habe. Aber erstmal geht es jetzt weiter auf Englisch mit dem eigentlichen Interview. So, first off, I would like you to introduce yourself, what you're doing, where you're from, and so on.
My name is Tijmen, and I'm one of the three guys from Digital Dreams, and we're based in Utrecht, which is in the center of the Netherlands. So like our trip to Cologne here to Gamescom is pretty short, but sweet.
So how long have you been working on this game?
So we're talking about Metrico Plus here. Metrico Plus is a remake of Metrico, which was a PlayStation Vita game, which was released exactly a year ago today.
Okay.
We worked on that for 2 years, and then we started making Metrico Plus as a remake because we used a lot of like hardware specific stuff, which we can't do on the PS4 and the PC, Mac, and Xbox One, which we're targeting right now. So like we got a lot of new content, and we've been working on that part for about 7 months right now, and we'll continue to do so until like January or maybe February.
So as you say, it's more of a remake. I guess you already said you're using more the physics engines and the new tools that the new consoles are giving you, and so are you basically, what are you adding to the old principles?
Well, we had to take away the gyroscope and the camera that we were using, and we got some new mechanics that I will not share just yet, okay. Unfortunately for you, but well, as soon as you see and play a little of Metrico and it's to your liking, you'll know you like it. As to like specific hardware stuff, because we're targeting all these different platforms, it's a little hard. We're still considering our options there, but we want to have at least one good, consistent game throughout all these platforms. So there's nothing really hardware specific yet, like officially, but that may change for specific platforms.
Okay. So for those of you who actually have no idea what I'm talking about and are too lazy to click on the link that's probably on the screen right now, which will lead you to a well, hopefully tomorrow filmed gameplay video. Metrico, how would you try to describe your game in one sentence?
One sentence is a roughie.
I know.
Okay, Metrico is a world of, and Metrico Plus is a world of infographics that react to your every action. So these actions that you usually have in a platformer, such as jumping, landing, dying, moving around, these are all doing things that you would not expect, and you really have to think carefully about those actions.
I could have said it better. This is a really nice way to sum it up, and it's a really, really great experience. I just played the version they have here right now. I think it was a pre-alpha.
Yep. Yeah, it's an alpha version.
Okay.
Early alpha.
And I was like constantly surprised by how clever it is. And there are so many moments where I was just like, okay. Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, you cheeky bastard. I love you.
Every puzzle should be a surprise. Every puzzle is sort of adding a layer on top of what you think that platforming and these other mechanics that we're adding are about. For example, you're used to Mario just running forward, like the ancient Mario especially, running forward and jumping whenever you please. We quickly stop you in your tracks and kick that in the butt and try to make you think about, okay, jumping has a consequence. But not only that, jumping is not just jumping. Jumping consists of sort of moments or actions. So you have the moment that you press the button, which is when you like get your momentum off the ground, and then you have the time in the air, and then have you a moment where you'll be landing. These are all different things, and we're making you aware of like what this specific action entails. It's not just a button. It has consequences, and well, that's what every single puzzle tries to teach you something new about every action or sub-action in there. So we always try to surprise you.
And you managed it pretty well. Like, I was constantly just wow and baffled and completely in there and just from time to time just laughing out of surprise and awe. I was...
One of the fun things that we try to do, because we sort of try to create this conflict with what you know in platformer games, is we set this sort of stage for you, which seems like this ordinary puzzle platform, like this ordinary platform thing, and then completely use it against you.
So, how did you choose your theme? Just going with metrics, basically turning a business Excel sheet into a jump and run.
The concept of the game is actually 4.5 years old already. We started at a game jam, which is a short period of time in which you make a game. And we noticed at the time that infographics were becoming popular. They were being used in newspapers and in sort of pop culture things like Iron Man. You had this visor and there's all these sort of numbers and things moving around. So we saw that became a thing, and it was interesting. And then at the same time we were thinking about, okay, what can we do? How could we make a game about a world that's constantly reactive, and they just fit seamlessly together? We were very happy about that. It was like a golden shot for us. I know, these things came together, and we've been really, really happy with the result and sort of the concept that it gave us. Infographics are, I know, they're being used more and more to make people understand what we're talking about. There's so much data and so much information in the world these days. And they are the key to making these data and information like accessible and actually understandable for us. And it wasn't being used in games as a medium. Like Portal had some icons that were really good, and those are sort of infographics. But that was it. So we thought, let's take it to our medium, see what we can do with it.
Yeah, and especially like as you said, like they're becoming more and more present and more important, and also there are many groups that are trying to make metrics and statistics sexier. And I also kind of got the feeling from you guys, while being minimalistic with colors, very vectory, also playing with colors, which I really liked.
Infographics are they have to be very basic, or they're very hard to interpret, which means that you don't understand what's going on, and that would be a terrible infographic. So it has to be minimalistic, it has to be abstract. We're also a pretty small team, so if it's abstract, that means it's not as much work as, say, like making Killzone would be. So it's really good on the production side, but mostly it's an inherent characteristic of infographics. They need to be minimalistic. You need to be able to understand what they're all about, like in an instant.
Yeah, and from my opinion, from my point of view, and as I played it, it works out very well. I really got to compliment you guys. I'm really excited about this, and it was such a surprise. Just we were strolling around, basically like taking our last few steps before going home, and suddenly it's like, huh, I like minimalistic styles. That looks fun. Let's go for it. So
no regrets.
No regrets at all. So you said like the first version, Metrico, was for Vita. How was the feedback in general?
Extremely mixed. We received both like 4s, 5s versus 8s, 9s, and 10. There was like no middle ground, hardly any, and that came from both like the journalists and the players. And we should have seen that coming. We sort of did. The thing is, it's an experimental game, as in you have to experiment yourself, and not everyone is comfortable with that. Especially like with the Vita, we use the gyroscope and the camera in there, so we actually required people to take their Vita and sometimes point it in something red, which could be my own shirt, but it could be something blue, which could be the girl sitting next to you in the train. Like, it's the only blue in the area, and that would be uncomfortable. Some people like it, some people don't. We knew this. We like to get people sort of like a bit uncomfortable, because that's the only way to get yourself out of your known area and find new things that interest you.
Kind of taking the augmented reality approach. in a certain way.
In a certain way, yeah. But then like the garbage scope was only moving around. But even but like to us that's not an issue. We're not easily embarrassed. For some, I mean, not easily embarrassed. But like the gyroscope can already like embarrass some people sitting on the bus that they have to do this. We actually make them turn like their entire Vita like 360 degrees, so they can't see the screen for a moment. But that's like intentional, obviously. I mean, we want them to feel uncomfortable. We want them to sort of be dependent on the game. The game, in that way, takes control of the player, which is like half the game. You're really forced to do and listen what the game is. So we did that very, very much on purpose, but it's not for everyone. We knew that, and that's when people start giving, okay, this is not for me. I'm giving it a 4 or a 5, even though I recognize that it is unique, which is like that thing that we want to prove and do. And some people really like being taken out of the comfort zones, and thus like think, oh, this is. You seem to be one of those people.
Oh, I actually enjoyed when I first started playing Phoenix Wright for the DS.
Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright.
It's
Ace Attorney. It's basically like a crime game.
Yeah.
And when you're in court, you can either like tap the screen to say "take that" or "objection," or you can scream it.
Ah, right.
And I sometimes had fun like sitting in the train and like everyone is quiet and everyone is tired. I'm just suddenly like, objection!
But that's something you remember, right? Yeah. That's something that stays with you. And there are more moments like that. Not everyone's played it, but there's this thing in Metal Gear where you have to take out the controller, Psycho Mantis fight, and you have to put it into another port. That's so out of the box, but you will remember it for your entire life. And that's sort of what we wanted to achieve with some moments in the game, because, hey, well, you want to make some difference in someone's life, and like really like turning away the screen or having to ask the girl next to you, is it okay if I point my device at your sweater for a short while? That will stay with you, and those are very fun and interesting moments to experience while you're playing a game.
And I also imagine that it can turn it into kind of a social game just by being like, okay, can I actually point this at your shirt for a second, and then the person might get interested in what you're actually doing, interested in a game.
It could happen. That would be a nice benefit, but it's not like it could be that you have just sheets of paper, or you have like a very colorful shirt. It would be good. It would be a nice benefit. Like I said, we want to get people out of the comfort zones for a little bit. So if that happens to be like you need to ask someone for permission, or maybe you even get to talk and get a friendship or something. It could work out in several ways, and I don't know. We fantasize about. We don't know of any stories that sort of happened while people were pointing the camera at someone, but lots of people played it, so something might have happened.
Now I'm getting curious, like in what way you might try this with Metrico Plus.
In what way we might? What?
In what way you would try to basically take the player out of his like just sitting at home with the controller in his hands, just doing something that he wouldn't expect. Or is this like something you cannot discuss right now?
Not in details.
Okay.
But the original Vita version was like, as its theme, very minimalistic in terms of, say, narrative or the premise. It was very hard to get across, and we want to be a bit more explicit about it. Not too explicit because it's still very abstract, but that's going to be something that hopefully will turn some eyes and make people want to wait, what? But
So to wrap it up, just one impression that immediately stayed with me from the game I just played. You have a chasm you have to cross, and there's a little, it's basically like information bubble with 0 out of 3, and I'm just standing there like, what is going on? And I can raise the block I'm standing on by jumping, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna raise you up. What now? Wait a second. Wait a second. And I just walked off the edge, died, and the block popped up. So this was like okay, I get you, I like you.
Dev, like how many times you died is just another statistic. The amount of steps, the amount of jumps you do, the amount of times you land or restart the game. Anything within the game could be a statistic and could be used in a puzzle and could be something that we want you to think about. Devs, we don't want them to be punishable, or like make you feel really bad about it, because it's an important part of experimentation to be able to try again and to really be able to try all sorts of things. So we made this really positive sound to it. There's like you have to start over, but that's usually exactly what you want. So there's no negatives really implied with it, and we try and teach you that it's really one of the many things you could do.
It's a really nice and very special feeling of control you have about the game. One last question. At the end of the first part, when you have to choose between the doors, let me guess, the statistics basically tell me how many people chose which door, right?
Exactly right.
I love it. Okay, so to wrap this up, first off, thank you very much. Thank you very much for agreeing to this spontaneous interview. And would you like to tell our viewers where they can find more information about your game?
Yeah, sure. The game is called Metrico Plus. If you look for that, like with the plus sign, or Metrico, the previous version, you'll find it. But just in case, the website is www.metrico-game.com.
Okay, thank you very much. This was victoryroad.de, and thanks for watching, and definitely look into this game. It's really great. Tschüss!